I've had a little doubt that Giannis Antetokounmpo was going to request a trade. It seemed a little too long and drawn out. It seemed like if it was going to happen, it was going to happen quickly. Now Giannis has been saying things publicly that looks like he wants to stay and give the Milwaukee Bucks a chance to rebuild the roster while Damian Lillard recovers from his Achilles injury and everything else. Like, they've gone all in to the past couple of years. And if he's allowing them to take a step back, at least for a year or so, to reassess, I think this is good for Giannis and it's good for the Bucks. I don't see there being a natural team for him to go to and say, you can win a championship right now. You will be better with this new team and the pieces that they have than you would be with the rivers and lakes that you're used to in Milwaukee. Do you see it the same way? I'm not saying this means he's going to stay there forever, but I don't think that he's in a rush to leave the way that people have made it out to be.
No, I mean, I was watching the video of when right before he signed his contract extension, and it seems like he's very good with being in Milwaukee. Like, the people don't bother him when he's in public, which seems to be a very important thing for Giannis, just respecting his privacy. His kids are settled. He's good. He said he can move around the city. He's very comfortable. And honestly, I feel like his loyalty is an underrated factor. Like, I feel like he has that like Kobe-like loyalty in him, where it's like he's not just going to go around and bounce around just to win a championship. Like, that's not how he's built. That hasn't been the energy that he's portrayed or exuded for much of his career. Like, I just feel like at this point there's examples of a couple of teams, not many, that had a bad season and were able to come back from it. The only problem is that they don't have draft picks in order to like help in the short term if that happens, if you're bad next year. The other thing is they have quite a few people on their squad that have light player options. So it's a good chance there's a good amount of people on the squad can opt out. They just have to convince Giannis that, we got players on our board that we think in the short term can help keep this team afloat and keep our floor high. You pretty much have not a free year, but like not having to have Boston be the juggernaut that they are next season.
Mm-hmm.
That's significant. Like, and number one, you don't want to leave the East. So what other place are you going to go where, to your point, insert Giannis in the situation and it's an automatic championship? I don't think that that's going to work that way, because like the Knicks, that's an attractive destination. They just went to the Eastern Conference Finals, but you're going to have to give up Cat to get Giannis. So how's that going to work? It will be, don't get me wrong, Giannis can fit anywhere. However, I just don't know that it's a guarantee that what you're going to get on the back end of whatever said trade happens is going to net another championship. So you might as well just wait this out.
Yeah, you don't trade Giannis unless he asks for it, period. Because it took them 50 years to get another franchise player after they traded Abdul-Jabbar. And it'll be another 50 years before they get another franchise player. Ain't no Cooper Flag coming around that corner for them. And who knows where we're going to be 50 years from now, right? But here's the thing for me. And this could set up something very sneaky. This is a hot take alert, y'all. This could set up something sneaky, Dan. You know what this could set up? This could set up the Doc Rivers low expectations overperforming job that he puts up every so often. He did it in Orlando a few times. He did it with the Clippers a couple times before they got all the big names, when they were just running, 10 guys out there. And, that was the year they played Golden State in the first round, and it was just a bunch of no-name dudes. And then the next year, Kawhi and Paul George came there, and the expectations came. We know what happens there. But this sets up a sneaky Doc Rivers. Hey, guys, let's just try hard. Nobody thinks anything about us. Nobody cares anything about us. Let's just try hard. Let's just play hard. We'll see what happens. Let's play hard. Look, he did get the fourth-seeded Boston Celtics to the NBA Finals in 2010. That was not the same team in 08 and 09. They got old and they got hurt quick. So maybe this sets that up for next year, where you give Giannis, and okay, maybe Bobby Portis doesn't return, and you got Dame sitting, so who knows what happens there. Maybe this sets up a try-hard season for the Bucks, where they just get into the play-in, and then that makes Giannis feel good about going all in with the franchise moving forward, or at least giving some team enough time to get their house in order that you can absorb a Giannis Antetokounmpo in the summer of 2026.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm hard pressed to think that the Bucks, even in the current state without Damian Lillard, won't be a playing team because you have Giannis. Like no matter how bad your team is, like I feel like he tries so hard and he's such an infectious leader that he won't allow them to fail. So with that being said, Doc Rivers, I wonder if is he feeling slighted the fact that was like probably the only team that didn't request his services from the Knicks right now. So like at that, I feel like he's already motivated. Like, oh, y'all don't want me. You want Billy Donovan. You want to throw out. You want to throw your shots at. Right. And I think you're right. Like Doc Rivers performs the best when he has low expectations. So I think this actually might be setting up for a low key. Oh, the Bucks are better than we thought type of situation. But I do think that their roster construction this offseason is going to be key to what they do. Bobby Portis is a player that I think he's on the contract for one more year. He could get an extension. Maybe you trade him and you can get some assets back off of that. Although I do think Bobby Portis is really key to what they built in that identity and that culture there. Like he's a huge guy off the bench, always steps in whenever there's an injury. You're going to lose Brook Lopez unless he wants to take a lighter deal to come back. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting.
Bobby's got a player option for $13 million next year, and I feel like he's going to opt out and go get his money. Go get your money.
So
go get your money, Bobby.
Could you do a sign and trade for that though?
I don't think you can because I think they're a second apron team. Remember, when you're in the second apron, can't aggregate contracts for trades, can't do sign and trades. Yeah. You just gonna have to let them walk.
That's tough.
And that's a tough thing.
So I mean, the conversation becomes like, when is Giannis gonna meet with the brass and be like, all right, so what y'all got planned? And listening to Brian Windhorst's, comments yesterday saying that this is not something that's going to be solved around the draft time. This is probably something that's going to go, July, August, maybe even as we're approaching training camp. That's when those conversations are probably going to be had of like, all right, we had summer, we see what happened in summer league. Like what's good with this team? And then maybe we see, depending on what they say, whether Giannis eventually asks for a trade or not.
Yeah, I just don't think that there is a team that is ready-made for Giannis to join right now. It just isn't. I think it's very hard to make. It's also very hard to make trades, Dan, in the second apron climate where you're having to absorb and send out all of this money in a Giannis deal, so to speak. So it will behoove him, I think, to give the landscape a year, right? Even if people have been thinking in the back of their minds over the past couple of years, Giannis is eventually going to ask out of Milwaukee. If your ducks aren't in a row, Houston has the draft capital, but they had the opportunity to get Kevin Durant for not a very high price, and they declined, and they declined to do it. And I don't think they're going to circle back there. I think Kevin Durant is the big name that's going to move this summer. I don't think Giannis necessarily is going to move. But this could also be, guys, the sneaky, I'm not asking for a trade, but work with me on a trade because I don't want the circus. This could be something sneaky in that way, too, where the Bucks are operating very, very quietly and canvassing the league to try to figure out what the best return for him is if Giannis does want out. It would be better for them if this were a quiet process and not a loud one because Giannis, I'm sure, still wants to be viewed as a hero in Milwaukee. Yeah. He won them a championship. They welcomed him. He grew up and became a man in Milwaukee. I'm sure he does not want to be viewed as a villain in Milwaukee, even though I don't think he would be if he requested a trade. So I would not be surprised, even if something came out later, if Giannis were traded tomorrow, I think it would be because those two very quietly decided, okay, you know what, this is best for us. On both sides, we're going to find the best place for you. This is where you want to go. We're going to extract as much as we can possibly out of this, and that sort of thing. Because Giannis in his future, he is 30. There's a lot of hard miles in that odometer. And like my favorite bad song, that's my favorite bad song. I hate the song. We ain't getting no younger. We might as well do this. that could very well be Giannis's approach, because he may look at it and say, man, how many years do I have playing this way at this style? Considering he's not a great shooter, not a great free throw shooter. He plays with force. He plays with physicality. You've got to be careful about how many great years he's got left, and you don't have time to waste. The Bucks ain't gonna trade him unless they have to, though. So there's that.
Yeah. So if I'm the Bucks, I'm singing SOS band every day. No one's gonna love you like I love you.
Ooh, the crates.
It's a banger. For your
The crates,
young heads
I like
out
it.
there. And if that's the case, like I feel like they're in a position, like I think you do sell this as, yo, let's let Dame get healthy. Let's take this year to kind of assess things, and then let's go from there. Let's not make any crazy decisions, because to your point, it's like it's going to take a lot of things and a lot of moving parts. It's probably going to be a multi-team trade just because of salaries and trying to stay under the aprons, and it's going to be a difficult deal to get through. But like we talked about it weeks ago, or maybe in a month ago, but like if Giannis says I want out, everyone's going to try to figure out. They're going to get their accountants on the line and their salary cap heads and figure it out. But I think it's in his best interest if he's going to do it. Don't make it be like Jimmy Butler, because that just it blends to the season. You're not going to get as much value for it. Let's not do the Luka thing like Nico Harrison, but you know what I'm saying, let's make sure that we're adequately serving the scouring and searching the market to make sure we're getting, compensation for an all NBA player, one of the best players we've seen in this era.
One of the 3 best players in basketball today. Let me just close with that. We can say all the things we want, that the Milwaukee Bucks have got out of the first round one time, that they won the playoff series since winning that 2021 title. But the fact remains, Giannis Antetokounmpo is one of the 3 best players in basketball today. Period. Point blank.